So when we are talking about improving our kicks, an often neglected part is the actual foot position or the foot shape. So this video is going to go over the mobility of the ankles, the feet, the control of the feet and the strength of the feet, and how to best get those feet in the correct positions for delivering effective kicks. Quite often people are throwing kicks in the air and their foot is in the wrong position, and to me this is the same as someone throwing a punch with a fist that's open. When we're in karate, especially when we are making open hand techniques or punching techniques, everything is considered. We have to think about the position of our hands, the alignment of our wrist and everything like that. Kicking is no different. We must have the correct weapon or tool at the end of our kick in order to deliver force through that motion. It's no good having a good fast snapping action with your kick and then having a weak weapon at the end of that kick that's going to then kind of lose the force and not transfer it into the opponent as we would like. So an example of this foot position that I'm talking about then is with the maigeri, for example. So when we're hitting a bag, I want to get the toes pulled back and land with the ball of the foot every time. If my ball of my foot is not in the correct position or my ankle is not stable and correct, I'm going to end up hurting my foot. The obvious example would be me kicking with my toes and breaking my toes or something. So from here, we need to make sure that the feet are always consistently in the right position in order to land our kicks every time. In the same way that when we're making a fist, we will make sure that the hands are making a solid fist every single time. This also applies when we're making a washi with either the ball of the foot or the shin. The foot position is important. It's essential that we must get our foot and our ankle into the right shape to deliver that kick. So the first thing I want to do is just to get the ankles a little bit more mobilized. A way I like to do this really is just to sit in a kneeling position, or seiza as we call it in karate. From here, I'll just have my instep touching the floor, toes pointed, and I'll just sit back onto the feet. So we'll just get a stretch across the front of the ankle there. I can lean back into it a little bit. I can also come up onto the balls of the feet and make a stretch for the toes and the sole of the foot, this kind of thing. So I want to be just mobilizing these feet and ensuring that we have good mobility through the whole foot. Okay, we can put them flat here this way, like I said, balls of the feet. We can favour one side more, we can lean onto one side to kind of intensify the stretch, or we can lean onto the other side to intensify that side. But yeah, just sitting in that position just as part of your warm-up, just to kind of loosen those ankles off and gain a little bit more movement in the feet. Because that is often the problem. People's mobility is not enough to even get into the shapes we need. The next thing I want to do is build some strength in these ankles. So I'm going to just have a slightly elevated surface here. I'm going to use this kick shield. I want to drop my heel low beyond the toes, or deeper than the toes, and I want to just pull up into a calf raise from here. Just pop up and down. Just getting the stretch at the bottom of the motion there and just coming back up. Working on these calf raises. We can add low to that, of course, to make it a harder exercise, but I want to be working here, getting the heel nice and low below those toes and driving up, working on those calves. Just coming down and back up. Of course, we do both sides, so dropping that heel low and coming back up. Holding on to the wall for stability in this exercise here. Just coming back up and down. I want to spend quite a lot of time in that bottom position. So I want to spend a little bit of time down here in the stretch before I come back up. I don't want to be going too quick with this and just kind of bouncing into the movement. I want to take my time slowly into that stretch and then come out. So we're kind of losing all of that elastic energy, the kind of rebound energy. I want to just put it all into the calves and strengthen those calves and ankles up. So nice and slow, pause there and drive back up this way. Try to eliminate any bend in the knee as well. Now this next exercise is going to be a little bit of an unusual one, but it's I saw this quite a few years ago, and it's quite good for strengthening the muscles in the feet and getting control over the toes. You use a towel, put it flat on the floor, and from here you're going to stand on the towel and you're going to use your toes to crunch the towel up, so you're trying to bring it in closer to you this way. Quite a difficult thing to do, but get onto there, get a grip and try to bring the towel back into you using your toes there. The next movement we can do to strengthen our ankles and gain some mobility is to use a resistance band. I've anchored it to the side over here. I'm going to put it onto my foot this way, okay? what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow my foot to be turned outwards, and I'm just going to be working on bringing it in towards the centre, this way, against that resistance. Okay, so I can do this way, pulling the foot inwards, or I can also have the foot being turned outwards, so I can work this side and pull it out, just to work on building up that strength. This is a good exercise to do as part of your warm-up as well, just to get the ankles mobilised and ready for the work ahead. Again, moving on with another exercise to try to improve your control of your feet. I'm just going to have my hand on something for balance. I just want to make circles with my foot. I can make circles this way or that way, or to make it more interesting, we can just draw the alphabet in the air. Okay, so we can go A, B, and so on, and do the alphabet. So we're just gaining that control over the foot. Because actually what I find with beginners and a lot of people is they struggle to actually do that. You know, even to make a foot, just a circle with the ankle, not the leg, but just the foot. You know, just pointing the toes and making a circle with that foot is actually quite difficult for a lot of people. And then when we're asking them to make shapes with the feet like this for our side kicks, how are we asking them to do that when they can't make a circle with their foot? You know, it's about gaining control so we can then create those shapes later on. So now that we have better control and mobility in our ankles, we need to start practicing the shapes of the kicks. So we can start extending and holding these positions that we need to get, you know, getting the balls of the feet forwards for the my area of front kick, get the edge of the foot for the side kick, you know, the heel position. Just training those positions, even the Ushiro, you know, having the heel being the most prominent part of the kick there. And after that, we can then start just lightly putting the kicks into the bag with those positions, you know, just kind of training those shapes of the feet, getting the conditioning now to land those kicks as we want to. Okay, you're going to learn very quickly if you've caught the bag wrong, because your foot's going to be in the wrong shape and it's going to hurt probably. So just working on just getting that ball of the foot there for the front kick, or for working roundhouse. You can get the ball of the foot or shin if you want to go with that one, or you can go back kick with the heel position there. Just slowly build up to sort of making contact and progressively get stronger and faster with those. So hopefully you found some of that helpful, and maybe you'll add some to your training. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment and let me know. Give me some ideas of what you'd like to see in this channel as well, because this is also about helping you to improve your martial arts or your karate as a whole. So let me know what you would like to see in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't done to the channel already, and I will see you in the next video.